Hi class, this is JilMac. I'm an instructor at the Community College of Vermont. My students know they can find all my materials out on my website, JilMac.com, and click workshops and classes. And they also know they can give me a call. So today we're talking about assignment 3 and for computer applications. So we go out to assignment 3 and we scroll down and we're talking about the difference between a number and a letter. So we have this file out on my Google Drive. So let's open this up. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Let me kind of move this screen around, and I want you to see how I'm moving this around. All right. This happens to be a spreadsheet, and this happens to be Google Sheets. So let's make it a little bit bigger. We're going to make it a little bit bigger because I want you to be able to see what's going on. Okay. So what is the difference between spreadsheets and a word processing document? Well, spreadsheets are made up of numbers. Spreadsheets, if you want to add a bunch of numbers together, and I'm just going to add a row here. So we want to add some stuff. Add numbers. So we can say we want to add the numbers, and maybe I'll move this to down here. So we want to add some numbers, and I'll just go up and add that S to make it numbers. And I want to add the number 3 and 5 and 10. And I want to add these numbers together. So I can block these 3 cells, and I can come up to the top menu, and I can find something that there should be more. Let's see more. This little symbol right here, this is a summation. And sometimes this summation is right on the toolbar, and sometimes you have to click the more and get it from the toolbar. But I'm going to get the functions, and I want to do a sum. So this it's kind of like an equal sign almost, but it's a summation. So what it does is it puts in this cell equals sum, and then you have a left paren, and it goes from the cell D8, and this happens to be column D, and this happens to be row 8. So from D8 ... down to D10. And when I press enter, it's now given me a total. And when I click on this, I can see this formula here, equals sum left paren going from the cell D8 down to D10. Now suppose I don't want this to be 10, suppose I wanted it to be 2, and I press enter, that automatically recalculates this. So if I didn't want this to be a 3, I wanted it to be a 9, as soon as I press enter, my total is now changed. And that's what spreadsheets give us. Spreadsheets give us the ability to add columns of numbers. It gives us the ability to average columns of numbers and to do lots of different things in our summation. If we didn't want the sum of it, maybe we wanted the average of it. So now we could have the average of these 3 numbers. And the average of these 3 numbers is going to be 5.33. Well, suppose instead of 9, I had 12. Now the average is going to be 6.33 because my formula says that the average equal average left paren the cells from D8 to D10. And that's what this is. That's what spreadsheets give us. Spreadsheets give us the ability to add numbers. Word processing gives us the ability to create paragraphs and to do all kinds of things with words. Not that you can't put words in a spreadsheet, you can. So let's just kind of delete this for the moment. And let's go to this document called Excel Spreadsheets, What Are Numbers and Letters? And it's really not Excel anymore because we happen to be in Google Sheets. So I'm going to get rid of that Excel and just say Spreadsheets. Okay, so what's the difference between a number and a text? If you are writing something, here is a link to a document. If you're just writing text, it's going to be left aligned, okay? Because we read from left to right, or at least English languages and many other languages do. But some languages read from the top down, and some languages read from the left over. So by default, as soon as you start typing in letters, it knows it's not a number. It knows that you're not going to do a math function or an average function. It knows that you're just writing out text, and so it's going to default to aligning from left to right. Now we can come up here and we can change it to be right to left. So we just change this. We could also make it centered so that this text was centered. But by default, if you start typing in letters, it's going to say, this is a word. We read words from left to right. If I were to start typing in some numbers, I'm going to type in 99 and press enter. Oops, I didn't mean to press the plus, I meant to press enter. By default, a number reads from right to left. If I put in a number of 99.035, now this is right aligned because we read numbers from the right to the left. This is a 0.10%, 3 is 3 cents. If we wanted this to look like money, we could format it. So if we wanted this, we could format this information, and we could say that we wanted it to be a number and that we wanted it to be currency. And currency has a dollar sign. So we could format this as money. If we clicked on this, which is just text, and we said format, and we wanted it to be, we're not going to really make this currency. It's not going to format it because it doesn't have any numbers. Even though it's formatted as currency, it doesn't have a number. If we were to say 2000.85 and pressed enter, now it would by default, because we had told it we wanted it to be currency, it would put commas in and it would put a dollar sign in. But let's just bring that back to what's the difference between a number and text, and let's undo it so it's not formatted as money. So text is something that you can put in alphabetical order. You can make it ascending or descending by A to Z or Z to A. You can do a spell check on text. You can do a word count on text. You can insert letters into a word. You can delete letters from a word. You can do word wrap. You can cut up a word to text to columns, and we'll be doing that coming up. And you can combine words. A lot of times you're going to have something like Jill as my first name. Oops. Just close this. We're going to have something like Jill. That would be my first name, and my last name would be McMenamin. If I wanted to, sometimes you need to have it say Jill McMenamin. If you're merging, sometimes you need to have the first name separate from the second name. But I could also concatenate, so I could concatenate whatever is in this first cell, and then I could put a space in between it, and then I could put what is in this second cell. And now I have Jill McMenamin. And notice how it didn't put a space in, because it could, it didn't put a space in because I didn't tell it quote, space, quote, putting in all these characters, quote, space, quote. And now when I put that in, I have a space between Jill McMenamin. But you can combine cells. Now when we combine cells, we're not adding them together. We're not adding a 3 and a 5. We're adding words together. And so we have to, instead of saying add, we have to use the term concatenate. So I'm just going to delete those. With numbers, you can do things like you can count, you can add, you can subtract, you can multiply and divide, you can get a percentage, you can get decimals, you can count it, you can average it. So there's a whole lot of things that you can do with numbers that you can't do with words. You're not going to add the words together, but you can concatenate them. Things you can do with both numbers and letters. You can sort things. I have these set of numbers right here. If I wanted to sort them, I could go to Data, and I could sort this column by A to Z, or I could sort the range. I could sort the entire column, or I could sort the range. And I'm going to sort this column C, and I'm going to sort it A to Z. So now I have sorted this in smallest to largest order. I could take the data again and I could sort it, and instead I could sort it from the largest to the smallest. So I'm going to sort this, and now I'm sorting it in this order. So I can always undo those and just put it back to the order it was. You can have a null or a blank. If I put in a space in this, that is a space, it's not a null. So a space is different than blank. If I wanted to really erase it, I would have to say that I wanted to delete them, rows or columns, or I just wanted to cut everything out of there, that it no longer contains anything. I can cut and paste in both, with both words and letters. I can change the color. Suppose I wanted this to be, and I'm going to format this. Oops. It's just as easy to do it from the ribbon up here. I could fill it with a particular color, and suppose I wanted to fill it with yellow. I could fill this cell with yellow, just like I could give a background to a word and give it a particular color. So I can change the format of it. This 9, rather than being this, I could have it be 2 decimal places. Or I could have it look like currency. So these are shortcuts to the formatting a number and then choosing from here. So you can choose from your pull downs, or you can choose from your ribbon shortcut. And you can also create word art in both letters and numbers. So let's just undo these so it goes back to how it was. Okay. In word processing documents, they're made up of words and numbers. PowerPoints are made up of words and numbers, or presentations if you're doing it in Google. Spreadsheets are made up of words and numbers. Charts are made up of words and numbers. A database is made up of words and numbers, and games are made up of words and numbers. Almost everything we do is made up of words and numbers. When you save a file, if it's an Excel file, and if it's from Excel 2003 to 2007, it's going to be .xls. If you save it as 2010, 2011, 2013, or 2016, it's going to be XLSX. The XLSX does a little bit more because it's a newer version. Everything on a computer is stored in a file or a document, and all files and documents have extensions like DOC for a document, or DOCX for a document from 2010 to 2016, or XLS or XLSX. And they have a file name, so it's filename.extension. And that's why you don't want to put dots in file names. You also don't want to put spaces in file names. So a lot of times we will have a dash, we will have underline, or we will have symbols like a plus symbol. Okay. So those are some of the differences that you can have in numbers or letters. You can take numbers, you can block them, and you can go to more and sum them together. So you can add them and you can also sort them. So if you have any questions about this, students know they can give me a call, but that's kind of the difference between spreadsheets and word processing and words and letters. Thank you.